MLS Aces episode 186. We're back after a week off last week, and we have the full squad here joining us. Vaughn, Sam, Jason. I'm going to go just in who's next to me order. Vaughn, how are you? We've spoken recently, I guess last episode 2 weeks ago. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have the whole gang back together.
How's the CLT FC jersey going?
It's great. I got merch. I got Charlotte FC merch here. I'm wearing the Love Unite jersey. Huh?
Was it sent to you for free?
No.
Come on, you're supposed to be like a big wig down there in Charlotte.
We're working on the MLS Aces clout here, but I don't have it yet.
All right, Sam, you look like you're busy, so I'm gonna go to Jason. Jason, how are you? You got a haircut since last time I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been a while since I hosted a podcast on my own with Sam. Yeah, I'm doing well. Good to have you. Good for me to be back and to have everyone
I'm really
back.
happy I'm back.
I'm glad you're back. I'm glad we're all here talking once again. Definitely going to have some coherent thoughts today.
Sounds like it. And Sam, looks like you still haven't gotten a haircut. How are you?
Yeah, it's been 2 years and 6 months or something ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, it was so hot the other day. I was sitting outside working on something, and I went, maybe I should go get a haircut. That's how hot it was. Is that I was willing to cut my hair.
Yeah, summertime will do that to you. It really will at this point. You know, it's rough. But we are all back together. We are back after taking, I think I put it out on Twitter there that I think we learned from 2020. If we need a mental break, I needed a mental break. I feel like you guys needed a mental break too. Let's just take it for a week. It's not going to kill us in the long run. So we're here. We're back. We got a lot of news, and we're going to touch on less games, more kind of overall topics from the past 2 weeks. We did miss a lot of games, I guess.
At least like 3 or 4.
At least
so many games.
At least 3 or 4, right? But before we get things started, I do want to say that this episode is brought to you guys by Added Time Outfitters. Added Time Outfitters has been sponsoring the podcast for a while, so we love them. We got to definitely just give them a quick shout out, right? And they create these soccer-inspired wristbands for all your favorite soccer moments, from soccer teams across the United States to Europe to the women's game, the men's game, everything you could possibly think of. I know, Jason, Sam, I know you guys have it. Vaughn, don't know if you grabbed one yet, but there are some unbelievable wristbands. I have an NYCFC one. There's women's national team ones, and they kind of just tell you a 90-minute story on your wrist for your favorite games, right? So unbelievable stuff. Guys, go check out addedtimeoutfitters.com. Check out Added Time Outfitters on all your social media sites. Use promo code MLSAces. That's MLSACES. And get a nice little discount on the end of your order. Support Added Time Outfitters. Support us, and definitely get yourself a sick-ass wristband. Don't know if they want me cursing during the ad read, but it's happening anyway. If you guys don't know who we are, if this is the first time you're checking out the stream, the first time you're checking out the podcast,
get ready
the
for
YouTube
a ride.
video, get ready for a ride, because
baby.
we talk probably 50% Major League Soccer, 50% a lot of other random garbage. But you guys can learn more about us by going to MLSAces.com, read our bios, read blogs. I think I just put out a brand new, Team of the Week blog out just today. So go check that out for week 6 of the MLS season. If you guys really like us, I don't know why you would. Pretty below average show. But if you do like us, go to patreon.com/MLSAces.
We're definitely better than the way you just described us.
No, we're the best. Like Jason and I, I think we decided we were top 5 on our show, right? We're killing it.
Top 5. You two are top 5 in the show, or the show?
No, all of them. Yeah, I'm definitely 4 out of 5.
We're definitely Sam and I are definitely top 4 on this podcast.
Yeah,
easily. I will give you that. Vaughn, you're number 1. Don't worry. I want to just let you know that. But if you guys want to follow us more specifically, follow the show, you can go on Instagram, MLS_Aces. I update the Instagram every day with news I try to throw out there. Twitter, if you guys want to follow us there, is at MLSAces. More specifically, my Twitter is at Tom Sweez. Vaughn, you are at VI Pullman. Jason, you are at Jason Vivang, and of course the most difficult one, we got Sam, Uncle_Sam XIII. There we go. It's all under our names. If you're if you're watching, Vaughn, it's all under our hands right
I
here.
like this though. I like how he's really riding with this.
Vaughn's working hard.
Yeah.
Producing Wonders is killing it.
Hell
so
he is producing.
We have a lot, right? We got a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna dive right into it. Like I said, we're going to talk probably less games, more overall themes. So we might go on a few tangents here and there. And knowing the two down at the bottom, we definitely will go on a few tangents
Top
here and there.
4, baby.
So
if you're listening to this podcast like on Spotify or something, the two at the bottom are definitely Tom and Vaughn.
All right. Mimosa. I was about to say Mimosa Mondays. It's not Monday. It's Wednesday. It's been a week, guys.
It can be.
It can be Monday. It can be.
Most of the days, I don't know what day it is most of the time. So
let's start with probably the biggest news over the past 2 weeks. Vaughn, you and I and Graham 2 weeks ago spent about 40 minutes talking about this topic, all in just less than a week later. Nah, fuck it. Forget about it. Save the Crew Part 2 worked again. And the Columbus Crew announced that the rebranding that is going on, they will be keeping the logo, but they are no longer going to be dropping the Crew nickname. It is still going to be Columbus Crew. And instead of that stupid little kind of triangle that was in the corner of the Columbus Crew logo, they're adding...
That's the goatee.
It was the goatee. Yeah, they're adding a
Ohio
96. I don't know what it was.
It's a Ohio flag shape.
No offense to the state of Ohio.
That's the Midwest. That's the Midwest. So
we gathered that. I think Vaughn's in agreement that it's also the Midwest.
Yes.
Vaughn,
there you go.
You and I did a lot of talking about our opinions of the Columbus Crew, the rebrand, all of that. So I'm going to let us kind of take a step back here because these two, Sam and Jason, did not give their opinions on the rebrand. So Jason, I'll go to you first. Whole rebrand, and I guess the decision to take back or not take away the Crew name. I want to hear your thoughts because, I like hearing your thoughts sometimes.
Thank you. Yeah, I like hearing my thoughts too. So, I mean, I hated it. Like, I'm not going to mince words here. That was quite a horrible rebrand. I think changing the name of the team is what bothers me more than changing a logo because teams change logos all the time. I mean, even the most historic teams in England have changed logos. Cities changed logos a bunch. Liverpool's changed their logo slightly. Changing the team name is like, I mean, this is the Columbus Crew. They always have been. And there's no reason to change the name. The logo itself that they changed to is just shit. Well, okay, so first of all, the one they were going to change to, which was a little C with a goatee on it, that was horrible. Like, actually horrible. I don't know who designed that. I'm sorry if they listen to the pod. But you are not a friend of the pod. I'm sorry. Keeping the name as a Columbus Crew and then adding the little 96, like I get it. It's like thanks, I guess. We'll give you something, fans. But overall, it just kind of a really botched rebrand, in my opinion. Which, looking at the last 4, are there any that we're really thrilled about? Like Houston, obviously Chicago. The Fire.
Chicago.
Yeah, we don't need to bring that one up. I mean, they're already going back on it, so that obviously failed. Montreal.
Yeah,
I don't think
any of us the Montreal one.
Yeah, the Montreal is probably the best one out of all 4 of the most recent, but it's not good. I wouldn't consider it like a top logo in MLS. But I don't know. I think there's also some sense of people just don't like change. So
I think that's a big thing of it too. But yeah.
Like the logo's not. I don't know. I'm gonna just flip flop here, but
it's not awful.
It's not like the worst thing ever. But I get why people were pissed. Also, like taking away the Crew from the name just doesn't make any sense. Like where I don't get, they were still going to use it as like their nickname, which is strange, I guess. I don't know. I felt like it was unnecessary.
I don't know. Sam, I forgot your name for a second.
Hey,
sorry. It's been a day.
It's at the bottom of the picture. Isn't that what you were saying earlier?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And so,
Sam, I guess kind of what Jason had to say, what you have to say about the logo and the change and the rebrand.
I don't know. It seems like it came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden we just got this giant C in the shape of the Ohio flag, which is unique. Good, I'm hip to that. It's unique, but it wasn't good. They take away the crew name, which is like one of the few names in MLS that is stuck. It's original. It's tradition at this point, and I mean that's. OG, and to take that away just felt kind of wrong, and obviously it felt wrong to the supporters group, to the fans out there, and it felt wrong to the rest of us too. Jason is a graphic designer saying that it was a shit logo. I mean, I can totally agree with that. If anyone can say it was shit and like listen to them, it's Jason. So yeah, it wasn't a great design.
My question is, do they even hang the Ohio flag like that?
They don't. It still flies like a normal flag.
Horizontal? So like it's still, even using the shape, it's just like the shape, so it's just arbitrary.
It's an arbitrary shape, you're right. So but it's a unique shape.
It is unique.
So there's that. I don't know.
There's no other weird triangle flag thing.
Not in America, but in Nepal, they have a triangle flag. Welcome back to Flag Facts.
Vaughn,
it wasn't good.
Is that the double triangle one?
Yeah.
The triangle.
Yeah,
that's a good flag. Guys, that's a good
I'm
flag.
realizing that Tom is right about this.
No.
Okay, Vaughn, I'm going to let you go.
I'm just thoroughly distracted looking at Tom's Florida Marlins logo sitting on his hat. That's ironic, right? Like a team that changed their from Florida to Miami and old school. I'm totally distracted. So I'm
lost.
It's
a great logo. This one is.
Didn't the Rays? Didn't they used to be the Devil Rays? And
they used to be the Devil Rays. Yeah. Teams change names. Teams change logos.
That was Tampa Bay.
Different team, Jason.
No, I know that. I know it's a different baseball team. Come on.
All right, I'm stepping away. I'm tired of the past 2 weeks listening to logos, rebrands, failed attempts. I'm tired of it. Let's move on.
So what you're saying is you dispute everything.
I hate everything. I hate everyone. I hate everything. It's really where my mind's been at for the past 25 years. So let's talk more negative because I again, hate everything. More
negative. All right, people listening to the pod, I hope you're not driving. You're in a bad mood or something here.
Hope you're sitting in traffic because we're about to just talk more shit. I don't know if any of you guys have anything you really want to say about this. I kind of just really want to quickly mention it. If you want to say anything, please interrupt me and mention it.
Oh, wait. I had one really useless comment about the crew logo rebrand.
We'll wrap it up here, Jason.
You know how they did Save the Crew? Instead of doing Save the Crew 2, they should have just went full Fast and the Furious and done 2 Save 2 Crew or something wild like that. All right, continue. You can move on. It just came to me while we were talking about this, and it said Save to the Crew 2.
I've been talking a lot of Fast and Furious lately, so that really just kind of hit.
And then you're in a really good if it needs to be used again, they could do Save the Crew Tokyo Drift. Just keep going.
That's a prequel save to the initial Save the Crew.
Yeah, but then later on in the series, it becomes canon in there. So
yeah.
Got you. Okay. That was great Fast and Furious talk, guys. Thank you. So back to what I wanted to say, that I quickly wanted to mention that if you guys, like I said, want to say anything, go for it, but I'm just going to mention it. Atlanta United and striker Lisandro Lopez mutually agreed to terminate his contract. Obviously, it was a little odd to me when he was initially brought on this offseason by Atlanta. Just an older player, but definitely experienced South American. Gabriel Heinze kind of grabbing a dude he's familiar with. I get it. Played 4 games for Atlanta, 2 in MLS, 2 in CCL. He hasn't been with the team for, I think, over a month now after the death of his father. He flew back down to Argentina. So just thoughts and prayers out to the Lopez family and Lisandro. I think he was contemplating retirement as well. So kind of just best of luck with him. So I kind of just wanted to quickly throw that one in there. And just to keep on going down the negative train, because why not? Because it's a fun time. Choo-choo, I'm the conductor.
Are you okay, Tom?
No, I'm really not. It's been a day. Major injuries in MLS happened within these past 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness! I don't want to
I mean,
talk about this tackle. Oh my god, I don't want to talk about it.
We're talking Aaron Long and we're talking Andy Polo. These are the two major dudes we're talking about.
Bruises. That's beautiful.
Let's start with Aaron Long, because I feel like he's a little bit easier to talk about. The Red Bulls announced that Aaron Long will be out for the season with a ruptured Achilles. So obviously that impacts New York Red Bull season, Red Bull fan season, along with US men's national team summer hopes, because he arguably was our starting center back next to John Anthony Brooks. So I am going to throw this out there. Whoever wants to take it. Vaughn, I'll throw it to you. You haven't spoken in a while. What does this mean for the Red Bulls 2021 season? Kind of, long-term high overview looking at it. And what does it also mean for U.S. men's national team, Nations League, Gold Cup, World Cup qualifiers, whatever you kind of want to think about there?
Across the board, big old problem. For Red Bulls, it definitely, if you told me 6 months ago that Red Bulls would be without Aaron Long, without Tim Parker, I would say that they're going to be in rough shape. They're going to need Amro Tarek to step in and put in a solid 90 week in and week out. Like, if that doesn't happen, it could go off the rails really quickly for Red Bulls. Thankfully, they've looked okay going forward in the attack. So maybe it's not all doom and gloom, but you're not going to just lose Aaron Long and be okay. So I think they're going to need some guys to step up to fill that void. And for the U.S. men's national team, same thing. This is a guy that was going to be an immediate plug-in and play some serious minutes in international competitions. And we have a really congested international schedule. And Aaron Long was going to be a big piece of that for the U.S. men's national team. So he's not an easy guy to replace for either side. Wish him the best of luck on a speedy recovery, and hopefully he can, pull an Iko Para and come back stronger than before. But this is a former MLS Defender of the Year. This is a guy that made Tim Parker look like a Defender of the Year alongside him. He's a guy that they're gonna notice he's not there, and I'm hoping that they can find some solutions both for the Red Bulls and also for the U.S. men's national team to overcome that.
I'm going to ask you all three different questions because that's a fun thing. Sam,
it's a way to host. I like that.
Who do you want to replace Aaron Long in these summer competitions? Obviously, we're going to get into the Nations League roster in a little bit, so you got some options there. But when you're looking at this back line, I think John Anthony Brooks is, penciled in at our left center back. Who do you kind of want filling in at that right center back spot, presumably with Aaron Long out, done for 2021?
Now I want Chris Richards. I think Chris Richards proved himself as a very capable center back for Hoffenheim this year. I think he played really well. He proved that he belongs in the Bundesliga. I don't know if he belongs with Bayern Munich specifically, but I think he belongs in a top half team. And I think he showed his ability to play not just off the ball, but on the ball this year. And I think that's going to be really important for us. So if we can get him into camp, I think that would be really nice to have him next to John Brooks. Guys like Miazga, McKenzie, guys like that would be nice. But I think Chris Richards, for my money, is the second, third best center back in the pool right now, just based on kind of how he did this past season.
I agree with that. I lean a little bit towards, just mainly because I know him a little bit more as a human being now. Mark McKenzie. I'm a big Mark guy. Love him now. But Chris Richards, definitely a shout. Mark McKenzie proved himself over in Belgium right now as well. Jason?
Mark McKenzie.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going with that question, but I like the answer.
Friend of the pod, Mark McKenzie.
Sometimes.
Friend of the pod.
Great interview.
We assume that, everyone listening knows Major League Soccer in and out, whatever. I can't think of the words. But
through and through.
Aaron Long, Vaughn's
back of their hand.
I like that one. Vaughn's kind of touched on it a little bit. Aaron Long, what is he like? Where do you kind of have him as center backs, defenders within Major League Soccer? Like, what's your take on Aaron Long? Like, what is his presence within Major League Soccer for the people who may not know it?
I feel like Aaron Long, like Vaughn brought up great points about how he actually makes the team better based on just like defender of the year. Him and Tim Parker were amazing together. You know, like they really lifted up that Rebels team. But the thing that I like about Aaron Long, which is also something he brought to the national team a little bit. I mean, he's even captained some Greg Berhalter teams. And he just seems like a great leader and a guy to have at your back line who's leading your team, especially a Red Bulls team that's relatively young. I think they're like either the youngest average age or one of the bottom 5 in average age. That's a guy that you want in the locker room, pushing these guys, getting them, bringing them together, forcing them to work harder, teaching them, you know, how he got to where he is, because he's worked really hard and he's like that's the stuff that he brings that's sort of intangible.
Intangible.
There you go.
And that's the stuff that when I see that he's going to be out for a significant amount of time, whether he's even with a team or not training, I mean, obviously he's going to be in some sort of rehab, I assume, to get back to full health. But that's what they're going to lose. And I think that's the bigger piece. It's obviously they're losing his just defensive ability, but the leadership that he brings, I think, is going to be felt even more.
No, exactly. And, you know, he's definitely a dude who, in my opinion, year in and year out, if someone picked him to be MLS Defensive Player of the Year, you know, it's not like a shocking thing, right? Like you can throw out the the Zimmermans, the Aiko Paras, the whoever you want to talk about, right? Jonathan Mensah, like those are like the dudes who, if you said like they're going to win MLS Defender of the Year, yeah, like it's fine. Like that makes 100% sense, right?
Yeah, and he's consistent. He shows up, he does his job, he knows his job, and he does it week in and week out. I mean, he's obviously injured, and that's going to be a huge loss because of how consistent he is at knowing exactly what he needs to do to make the team better. He doesn't seem like he ever does too much or too little. He kind of always hits that right bar of, this is how I can help my team, and this is what I'm going to do to help them.
Exactly. I can agree with that there. Let's move on to maybe a worse injury that we saw out on the field this past weekend. But
this one is criminal, man.
I'm going to use a word that probably isn't the most accurate, and you guys might have better words for it. But there was an awful tackle from that's 2 words, but you got it. There was an awful tackle from Galaxy center back Derrick Williams on midfielder Andy Polo for the Portland Timbers. It came out afterwards that Polo ruptured his left quadricep and tore his meniscus in his knee. He was out for 2021, obviously out for the Portland Timbers, out for the Peruvian national team.
I just watched it in slow-mo. Oh God!
It replayed on my TV like 6 times. I was like, can you stop?
I pulled up the tweet because I hadn't seen it since it happened.
I've never even heard of that happening before.
That's a pop you don't want to hear.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I didn't even know you could rupture a quad.
So while you kind of keep that thought in your mouth and you swallow,
I'm turning that off. I can't have that playing.
Vaughn, I'm gonna go to you first. I guess the end result is obviously, you know, all 4 of us, we wish the best to Andy Polo because that's going to be a nice long recovery road. You know, we hope he gets better as soon as possible. But Vaughn, what do you think the proper, I guess, punishment would be for Derrick Williams in this situation? Because obviously deserving of punishment for one of the worst tackles I think we've seen in Major League Soccer.
That wasn't a soccer tackle, bro.
Calling it a tackle is not fair to tackle.
Pretty hard.
Like it's a leg crunching. I mean, I will say this: I don't think Derrick Williams did it with malicious intent.
No,
right? Like it wasn't a situation where he tried to intentionally two-stud the guy. It's not like intensity was to this level of trying, the game was boiling over. It just was an unfortunate circumstance. So, I think that has to play into this a little bit. I mean, a few game suspension, 3 to 5 games is probably what's going to happen. That's probably fair. If he'd been hurt and next week he was back on the field, okay, it might have been a 1 or 2 game, but I think that you took a player out for an entire season and potentially, you're threatening the guy's career. you've got to have some serious recourse for that. So very unfortunate for Andy Polo. And quite frankly, I feel for Derrick Williams too. I don't think he's going to be now painted in a certain light as being a dirty player or whatever the case may be. And I don't think he really deserves that from this one play. I think it was a bad moment. I think it was a bad circumstance. And I feel for both teams and both players.
Wow, that was a great look at it. Oh my gosh.
I agree because
that's manager Vaughn.
Yeah, that's what producing Vaunders does. He keeps it down the middle. I like it.
I like that.
I do feel bad for Derrick Williams as well because apparently he's getting a lot of like racist shit thrown at him on Instagram, on Twitter, and all this stuff.
He's had death threats.
A lot of death threats.
Oh my god, that's just work. That's just not any. I can't even speak. That's just horrible.
Like, obviously not an okay tackle to do, right? But like you said, Vaughn, it wasn't malicious. There was no intent behind it. It's not like they were getting into it and then all of a sudden he just came in and did that, right? Like, that's not what happened. It was just, I think, poor timing, fast, exactly.
Unprofessional play, unprofessional tackle, yes. Just a mess.
So, Sam, I'll go to you next, and Jason, if you have nothing else to add, because I mean I don't know how much there is to add to this outside of just ugliness and just rough, and feel for both guys, but you just kind of hope shit calms down. But Sam, do you have anything you wanna add to kind of what Vaughn threw out there?
No, Vaughn pretty much hit it right on the head. I mean, look, it's not like he was trying to do what happened. Like and the thing is in soccer, like. Everything's moving so fast that like sometimes you just can't control the minutia. There's small details at the end that cause that to happen, and it's unfortunate for both guys, and it really sucks. And any backlash that Derrick Williams is getting is pretty, like, outside of like he made a bad tackle, like, it's pretty ridiculous, and that's just not right. But there's only so much you can do at the end of the day right now, and he is probably going to get suspended for a couple games and move on. And that's kind of what you have to do as a player, because if you second guess yourself as a defender going into a tackle again because you think you might injure that guy another time like you did before, like, then you're just not a viable defender team anymore. So you can't really hold that against you for what is kind of a freak accident, kind of just a super dangerous tackle.
And I saw many people comparing this to the tackle on Steve Zakuani that pretty much ended his career, right? Like, Zakuani, after that one tackle, I can't remember who tackled him, but it was just god awful. Zakuani was never really the same. It was rough, right? I guess people were saying that the guy who tackled Steve Zakuani years ago received a 10-game suspension and that Derrick Williams should be receiving the same. I don't know, Jason, what are your thoughts on that? Is 10 games a lot for this, or is that accurate for kind of, what happened out on the field?
Personally, I think it'll be like a 5-game suspension. I think that's like the correct amount of games to suspend for. This tackle, like you guys have said,
I lost this tackle.
It's one of those things that his legs are high. It's fast. It doesn't really feel like he's going for the ball in this tackle, and it's put a guy out for Andy Polo.
Yeah, he had.
He had the ball.
Did he?
Had the ball.
The angle from the replay I kept watching looked like it was just open field and it was well past him.
Well, because the tackle comes, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't even seem like he was really going for the ball that much. Gosh. And it put him out for 1+ year. So I think it's got to be 5 games. I mean, he got a red card, so it's at least 1, right? But to me, it's just a really bad situation and a really bad tackle that easily could have been avoided. I don't think you have to tackle that hard in that moment. I think you can do a lot of things to defend better in that moment, and I don't know. I mean, he deserves a suspension.
No, for sure. And we'll see what comes of it, right? I think 5 games would make sense. I could honestly see more, and I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but it's just, Vaughn, I think you summed it up perfectly in the beginning, so I'm going to leave it at that. Let's kind of talk about the last injury, and it's a pair of injuries. I know Steve Clark for the Portland Timbers, goalkeeper. More Timbers injuries. Steve Clark will be out for a long term, not the full season, but will be out for the long term. Jeff Attinella, he will be out for the full season. So the Timbers at one point were down to their third string goalkeeper, who they just signed to a homegrown deal this offseason, in Hunter Sleuth, 17-year-old kid from Alaska. He's like 6'8".
He's got it.
He's huge.
Ball out.
Like the kid's gigantic, but he's 17, right? Maybe not ready for the moment. So
he's ready. And got this.
They went and they signed Logan Ketterer from El Paso Locomotive in the USL Championship. Jason, your almost team.
Going to the Timbers, huh? I'm right.
And going to the Timbers. Wow, didn't even make that one. Timbers Jason. Just to give you guys a little bit of if you're not watching,
I was not prepared for you to.
Your printer ink. I'm so sorry for your printer ink.
If you're not watching the YouTuber or the Twitch, please go and watch it and check out the 30-second minute, because that was much needed.
That's phenomenal. Honestly, I see no way that your ink could have been used for something better than that.
I got it in black and white too.
Can we have it framed behind you?
Oh my god!
You should see it on the wall framed behind you. That's what I need.
I'm just crying.
I really didn't think that one would be as funny as it came off.
It was incredible.
Well, I'm going to keep going. If you are a USL Championship fan, then you know how dominant Logan Ketterer has been the past 2 seasons for El Paso. 22 shutouts in 55 games for the club. Pretty big, right? Came in, he made his debut 2 weeks ago against the Earthquakes, gets a shutout save against the Quakes, stops a PK from Chris Wondolowski, and then this past week, yes, it was a 10-man Galaxy team, but he did get another shutout win then. So he's 2 games, 2 shutouts in his MLS career so far.
Is he the best MLS keeper ever, Sam?
He might be. He might be coming from El Paso, going to Portland. That's right up your alley. So, Sam, you're the goalkeeper guy, Logan Ketterer. 2 games, right? That's not the biggest sample size, but I guess how are you liking the man in net?
It's a really positive start for him, obviously, and honestly, like out of all the guys they could have tried to sign, I'm a little surprised they went with a guy from the championship compared to the MLS goalie pool in general. Not that I know who's in the goalie pool anymore, who would be viable.
Many left.
Yeah, and realistically, like they're probably some older guys or guys with no experience in the league. So having a guy who's been getting game time, like I do really think that's good. Very well proven in the second division. Coming up, the defense is clearly doing work for him, which is really great, and that's what you want from a guy coming in. You want that defense the same way in like hockey when you have like an emergency goalie. That defense steps up in front of you and like blocks all these shots and stuff, getting him used to kind of what's happening. And I mean, obviously, just stopping a Wando penalty is huge, and my confidence as a goalkeeper would be stupid high after I did something like that, stopping the best goal scorer in the league. So, yeah, it's a really good start, and I honestly think that this could be a really good point for him. What's going to be very interesting is if he holds that really good standard for a long period of time, and then Steve Clark comes back. What's going to happen? Steve Clark, traditional starter in Portland, has been all over the map in MLS for a number of years now. Is he going to come back in, hold that starter position back from Logan Ketterer, or is he going to hold on to it, Logan, that is? And, that'll be interesting considering that number 2 is out for the season in Antonella. So I really don't know what to say coming down the pike. But for now, Portland, as long as their defense keeps stepping up, they're going to be in safe hands in net, pun intended.
And I mean, the fact that Ketterer's 27, Clark and Attinella are both 30 plus, maybe you're going to make that transition for a dude who can be there for the long term if he obviously keeps.
They need to
pay the man.
I like guys kind of getting their chance and taking it. I don't want to dive too much into that, but just some cool moments from the past 2 weeks. some more goalkeeper news. Again, this may be another one you guys don't really have much on, but I definitely want to mention it for the people listening. Brian Rowe, a longtime MLS goalkeeper, won the 2014 MLS Cup with the LA Galaxy, played in close to 130 games for the Galaxy, Galaxy 2, Whitecaps, and Orlando City most recently. 32 career shutouts, decided to announce his retirement from professional soccer. So just a major shout out to Brian Rowe. Some great moments in Major League Soccer, some poor moments in Major League Soccer. Definitely Josef Martinez scoring the single season MLS record goal, looking back with Rowe on the ground. Not great, but look, MLS, he's an MLSer for life, and I respect it, and I just wish you the best of luck. Let's kind of stick with the Galaxy train, because I'm trying to make transitions out of nowhere.
Wait, real quick.
Yes.
Brian Rowe was really good until he left the LA Galaxy.
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there because I don't know, I think that's obvious to everyone, but once he left because they bought David Bingham for $1 million from San Jose, and he became the backup, and then he wasn't good as the backup. He lost all of his confidence, and then went to the Whitecaps, played like shit. Went to Orlando, played like shit for 2 years, and is now decent, and then retires. He had his confidence completely broken when LA bought David Bingham, and that is just the most upsetting thing.
No, I mean, it's very fair. I think, like you said, Sam definitely had at least a year in Orlando where he looked very good again, and that was cool to see. But, he's a true just veteran of the league, and kind of just cool to see him in the goalie pool. Yeah. Definitely another cool goalie there.
Yes.
Because I think he was technically on Toronto and Philly at one point, but never made an appearance, if I saw that correctly. But you know. Let's stick with the Galaxy train, though, because the Galaxy announced a new player. They signed 24-year-old defensive midfielder Rayan Raveloson from Troyes in Ligue 2 in France. So Greg Vanney going back to that French connection. This was a new thing that I learned, how to say someone was from Madagascar. The Malagasy international has 11 caps for the national team.
I like that.
He has 131 career games played between Troyes and Tours FC in France with 9 goals, 10 assists. So more of a defensive midfielder from everything I've been reading about him. Maybe potentially going to be playing next to Jonah Dos Santos in that midfield. But Jason, I'm going to go to you. What are you making of the French Revolution continuing? Because I know I've asked this already on this podcast, because they went with 2 French signings and we were like, it's a French Revolution. Now they have Raveloson.
Is
Koulibaly, Cabral, Grandsir. Greg Vanney just kind of finding a hole in France and going for it?
Maybe they just have some really trusted scouts there. But I mean, I don't really know what to make of someone coming from League 2 anyways, because I don't watch League 2. Can't say I really spent
League 2, please.
Whatever, League 2. I don't watch that. I can't say I do. So I don't really know what we're gonna see from him. But overall, if they're finding players that are very unique and obviously meant for a certain system that Vanney's gonna try and run, then I think it's a positive, because it seems to me, based on these signings, that he has a vision for the team and where he wants to go with it. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, we might not see the immediate results of these guys from France, but once we do, it could be massive and it could be really good. And I don't know. I like a manager who has a vision, has an idea of what he wants to do, instead of just random shit for 17 years.
No, exactly. And I mean, Vaughn, I was going to go to you next, because I feel like you're a fan of Greg Vanney. I don't know why. I just kind of have it in my head that you are. But
We're a pro Greg Vanney podcast.
We are. And not that I have an idea that you're going to know how Raveloson is going to come in and play or whatever. But just kind of going off Jason's point, you have to like what Vanney's doing if he has some type of idea. Whether it works or not, it's a whole different story. But at least he's going for something.
Yeah, the things that I like that Vanney's done is I think it's very clear that he knows how to manage a locker room, right? He was brought in to the Galaxy to right the ship and get this team back to being the Galaxy of old. And he's very quickly, from the sound of everything, has established a more clear identity, a more clear style, has got players buying into a clear system. And we see the Galaxy all of a sudden playing more consistent soccer. Go figure. So that's why Vanny was a good hire, is because he knew the Galaxy of old. He was a part of the organization. He has shown he knows how to win in this league with Toronto FC, and he's going to a big market that's willing to spend. I was going to add to the note about, this French Revolution. I was recently on another podcast talking about, coaches that could possibly come to Charlotte FC. And I just was talking about Patrick Vieira because he's out of a job right now. But one of the big things that was part of that discussion was that MLS teams are looking to France right now to try and take advantage of a market inefficiency, right? The French leagues are in a big financial hole. They just, first of all, they were already in a financial hole with some serious debt ahead of COVID. Then they lost the revenue due to not getting fans in stadiums through COVID. And they also had a $3.5 billion media deal fall through. Yep. So one of the reasons that we're seeing this transition of French players making it to MLS is that MLS teams are trying to mine for talent there, as well as other teams across the globe. So what I'm curious to see here with Ryan Raveloson, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, is, okay, he's clearly a guy coming from Ligue 2. So if he performs well, I think that is going to trigger more teams looking to the second division in France, trying to find talent as well. So that's, I think, what is the biggest thing here is let's keep an eye on the Galaxy. Let's see how these French players are doing. Sporting Kansas City, they were doing the same thing. They brought in both Issy Montmarine and Remy Walter. So, okay, let's see how these French players jump into the league, how they perform. And all of a sudden, if they're doing well, we're going to see a whole slew of French guys coming over, just like we've seen this offseason with some teams starting to mine talent down in Brazil. So just throwing that out there.
And I am going to take that transition and goddamn run with it, Vaughn. Brazilian signings are coming fast. We saw Brenner going to FC Cincinnati. Everyone was freaking out about it this offseason. So were we. But New York City, my boys, they come in, decide to bring in a winger. They bring Brazilian youth international winger Thales Magno from Vasco da Gama in Brazil. He does have 3 goals in 6 games for the Brazilian youth international team. He's played in friendlies and U17 World Cups. 61 games for Vasco da Gama down in Brazil with 5 goals and 3 assists. I know Tom Bogert wrote an awesome piece on MLSsoccer.com breaking down Thales' kind of his abilities, what he's going to bring to New York City and everything kind of in that whole span, right? He's super young. I'm so excited to have him on the team. You guys have no idea. I watched shitty cut up YouTube videos for about 5 hours when the announcement was official. He apparently was rumored to be going to Liverpool last year, and then the whole COVID thing killed it. I don't know. I'm just excited that we got this kid, and let's just run with it, right? I think we have 3 Brazilians right now on the roster, so I'm all for single names. I'm all for the green and the yellow. I'm about to be Brazilian, and it's gonna be a party up in New York City. That's all I got. So if you guys want to comment on him, go for it. I don't know if you've seen anything from him, but I'm pumped. That's all I have to say. Nothing.
Me in Chicago. Come on, do something.
It doesn't help that you two, Sam and Jason, you guys might have 2 of the 3 worst teams in the league right now.
No. We do have 3 of the worst teams in that one.
Yeah, Sam, you did just sign a director.
Yeah, we signed the Atlanta's director of scouting.
Okay. I mean, you want to talk about that, or you just...
I'm just happy that we've kind of got a vision going forward. Work directly under our new general manager when she was in Atlanta as well. And I think that we're slowly going to start to see some moves get made. I don't think it's going to be until next offseason.
He's Atlanta did something good.
Yeah, we're just gonna take all of their front office. See, I don't think DC is going to make any moves until next offseason, but I think the plans are in place. And obviously people in DC like Losada a lot, and he's got a vision. And although the team does suck, I do think that holding a lot of these games to like 1-0, like the defense is holding tight, we just can't score. That's not. Yeah. That could be a lot worse. So I guess I won't complain too much. I really can't complain, knowing that they were going to be bad going into this year.
It could be the Chicago Fire. That's really
what it comes to.
We signed a new president. I'm optimistic for her.
I like that. All right, make some moves.
I'm optimistic too, but I'm not.
Oh man, our team is way better on paper, bro. Can we just play the whole game on FIFA?
Cincinnati is so much better on paper too. But like, you see where we're at?
They are. Let's move into a signing.
With cheese. No, it's worse. It's not even cheese. It's like shredded cheese.
Oh, that's true. Anyway,
just like instead of traffic cones in the back line, and it's 4 of them. It's like, oh, what do we do now? Just kick it over the top. What are you?
It's funny because their color is orange.
Traffic cones don't jump. Oh man, sorry. Sam, I feel like I'm way too mean to Cincinnati, even though my team is barely not even at all better.
You're worse than them now.
They have 6 goals. At
least. Definitely worse than them.
I mean, we didn't give up 14.
Not yet.
Pretty close.
Would you rather have Calvo on your back line or Cameron?
Oh, that's rough. That's honestly a super rough question.
Calvo makes easily one of the dumbest decisions of all time, and then he ones up it the next week.
Does he?
Every week.
Every third week.
No, I'm saying he just does something stupid every single week.
Yeah, that is true. And then every third week he
plays for Chicago Fire. Every third week you're like, oh, I'm glad we got this guy. And then you remember the week after that he's absolute dog shit 57% of the time.
If only you get the Francisco Calvo that plays for Costa Rica, that would be much better.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. If only we got a lot of things right.
Let's talk about the last signing that's happened within this last 2 weeks. Sam, you mentioned it beforehand a little bit, but Minnesota United, they signed yet another player to try to turn a shitty beginning of a season around into some solid season. They signed Argentine winger Franco. How do you say this guy's last name? Is it Fragapane?
Where is this on the notes?
It's in the middle. Next to the other soccer players.
Fragapane.
I'm going Fragapane. He's not French.
Frangipane.
Not gonna.
Yeah, it could have French descent. Fragapane.
I'm really, you know what? I'm going with that. He's from Talleres in Argentina.
Just say Franco. You could have just said Franco.
Mr.
He's in front of the pod. We're on a first name basis for sure.
Frankie,
double F. Double F.
Double F. That's a good one.
Frankie is, well versed. He has 210 games played between Talleres, Union down in Argentina. He's played over in Spain, Celta Vigo a little bit, Boca Juniors, right? 32 career goals, 14 career assists.
Arsenal. Oh. The Argentinian one.
Yeah, not that Arsenal.
I saw that too, and I was like, "Oh, Arsenal? Oh, not
that Arsenal."
That one's probably actually better than the real.
He's had quite an experienced South American career. We can just say that overall. I know many people were excited, at least Minnesota-wise, were excited when this signing came out. Vaughn, I'll go to you. I guess, what does Frankie bring, or kind of? If you want to take a higher look at Minnesota overall, trying to do something about this shitty beginning to a season.
I mean, I don't know what this attack is going to end up looking like for Minnesota. The thing that I know is that Franco is definitely brought in as the Kevin Molino replacement. Mm-hmm. So he's got some shoes to fill, right? Big shoes to fill. We don't know what this team is going to look like. Luckily, they've gotten just enough results that they're not up against the ropes, fighting to claw all the way back in.
Yeah,
so they've got a little bit of breathing room now to get Franco in there, and I think Franco was also linked to Toronto, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
There were a few teams that were going after him, so that's a good sign. And I don't know if that was posturing from agents, if that was posturing from front offices. I don't know if that was just a tactic. But Minnesota, from the sounds of it, has got a good addition, somebody who's going to be a starter, who's going to be part of the rotation. So can I admit to knowing anything beyond that about Franco? No. But am I hopeful that he's going to be able to come in and give that Argentine flair and be a big piece that can connect with Reynoso, that can find the ball with Avila and Hunau? Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing that I've heard talked about this move is that it's going to allow Robin Ludd to go back to the right side.
And not play striker. Yeah.
Probably.
So the thing is, okay, you're starting to get a more balanced attack. You're starting to get more weapons. If all the pieces mesh together, then yeah, some things could be really good there in Minnesota. And quite frankly, I hope that it does, because I've enjoyed seeing Minnesota become this MLS force over the past 2 seasons. And I think their identity has been on the defensive side of the ball, but we saw their deep run in the postseason was more because of what was happening with Reynoso and with Molino. So I'm optimistic that Franco can come in and be part of that attack to get them firing and being a threat in MLS again.
Not a lot of time to make those adjustments.
No, I mean, you're correct, right? You have to start winning games, and they're doing so, and it's maybe not in the sexiest of fashions, but Minnesota's trying to turn it around. I agree that I think Frankie here is trying to be, or Minnesota's bringing him in as the Kevin Molino replacement, right? He's not going to be hot boy, but what is he going to bring in? What is he going to bring in his game? Connect that with Avila and Hunau and Finley and Ludd and Gregus and whoever else you want to say, because they have a lot of attack, right? They have a lot, and Reynoso obviously probably being the biggest name that I just missed there, but they have a lot of skill. And I think offensively, once people get informed, they're training together, they're figuring it out, they'll score goals, and that'll be fine. I'm honestly concerned about Minnesota's defense, and coming into this year, I don't think many people have said that. They have allowed a lot of goals. Yes, recently it's been better, right? They've been keeping games closer, and maybe the offense is holding onto the ball more, and they're helping out the defense, right? I want to see more from Minnesota. I want to see these guys get on the field, get integrated together, and really be able to prove that they're a full soccer team and not just kind of nice pieces on a chalkboard or on a whiteboard, whatever. But that's kind of really my take on Minnesota.
I'll just say the pivotal moment for Minnesota turning their franchise around was getting rid of Francisco Calvo.
Yeah. This could be the moment for you, Jason. Write a strongly worded letter to ownership.
please get rid of him. We
sign Iko Para. That's it.
The blueprint is there.
Yeah, there is. Just follow Minnesota.
I'm just DM the Twitter account. Fix your shit every day.
Are the DMs open? That's the real thing.
Oh, there's no way they're open. Those would get destroyed.
For the sake of time, I'm gonna Jason, I'm gonna have you guys talk about this next one, and that's Carlos Hill. The New England Revolution signed Carlos Hill to a contract extension that will run through the 2024 season. Obviously, the DP attacking midfielder is one of the best players in the league, right? That we've seen the dude create, we've seen the dude hit awesome bombs, we've seen the dude just do it all for the New England Revolution. Sam, I'll go to you first. Carlos Hill. Keeping him, locking him down, how big of a move was this for the Revolution to continue to be contenders for the next few years?
Yeah, this in terms of a general sense, this is actually a really massive deal for the Revs who aren't really known for kind of you got 2 months for they're not really known for, one, signing guys like this to begin with, and then 2, signing them long term. So to have gotten a guy like Carlos to begin with was a very big step in the right direction. But then to sign him long term after multiple great seasons with the team is huge for an ownership group who consists of a guy who doesn't know that he owns a soccer team. And no, is anyone laughing? No, all right, fine. I tried really hard on that one.
I liked it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, good enough. So look, like Carlos Hill is going to be now the piece that big man Bruce has to build around. And I think that's very important for him. And he's got a solid team around him. And what that tells me now is, unless they try to re-sign him, you've got until 2024, the good years of Hill, to really make a run. And this year is obviously a very good year. They've really built a solid team together. You have until Matt Turner leaves for Europe, which will probably be in 2 years. So that's kind of my view on the whole thing.
No, I mean, I respect it a lot. And Jason, I want you to give me the bigger picture on Hill, the same way you did for Aaron Long, because I liked it. So I'm going back to you for that. But just to give people listening who may not know Carlos Hill and what he brings, Hill is a best 11 player in MLS. He's won newcomer of the year when he came in 2019. And I mean, his production, his goals and assists combined, in goals in games played for the Revolution, pretty damn good. So, Jason, Carlos Hill, where does he rank in just pure creative attacking pieces within Major League Soccer?
I mean, he's definitely like your top tier of players that you'd want on your team creating for you. You kind of mentioned his numbers briefly, but I mean, back in 2019, he had combined 24 goals and assists in 34 starts. Then you had like a weird 2020, right?
Yeah.
But even in 2020 in the playoffs, I guess that was what, 20? Yeah, it was 2020. Last year, sorry, years are hard. He played in all 4 games, started them all, had 2 goals, 3 assists. So, I mean, in 4 games, he had 5 contributions in that sense. But even when he's not getting his name on the score sheet in some form, he's causing defenses to always be aware of him. So every single thing he does, it's, hey, watch him, because you take your eyes off him for 1 second, the ball's in the back of the net, or he's setting someone up perfectly, making it easier for his teammates, and that builds confidence for him and his teammates, and it's kind of just compounded that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing is, like, every single time you're out there, you have to make sure someone on your back line, and we've seen some bad back lines in MLS, right? There's quite a few back lines that have weaknesses, many weaknesses. And this is a guy who takes advantage of it week in and week out. The second they fall asleep, because a 90-minute game is tough, the second that he sees an opening, he takes hold of it. And he's a guy who doesn't really seem to make a lot of mistakes. Kind of like Aaron Long. He knows his job, and he does it, and he waits for the opening, and he's just a killer when he sees that opening.
Exactly. And I think Carlos Hill is...
He's a very fun player to watch.
I'd call him a superstar in this league. I don't know if maybe that's me overhyping him a little bit.
I think him being in New England takes away some of the actual fame that he would get if he was in a much larger soccer city. No hate to New England at all. But him in LA, him in
New York,
Seattle, him in New York. Yeah, it would be a big. Him in Chicago.
Get him on primetime television more often.
I mean, look, I think at this point the Revs are primetime TV, and I kind of want to transition from Carles to Carlos and go to Carlitos Vela out in LAFC. Definitely.
All right, set that one up.
Definitely,
that was really good.
I've been thinking about it for like 10 minutes, so it's all good. Definitely primetime player. Definitely primetime city. I see Vaughn working his magic over there. The Carlitos. There we go. I was waiting for more, Vaughn. I thought
there was going to be a pun with his last name, honestly. This, for the listeners, if you're listening on Spotify,
you've got to watch this.
Yeah, this is definitely one you got to watch, because this is all I'm saying is, like, you got, like, turn it. No, you're already an hour in. You're probably not going to start over, right? Unless you're a really big fan, in which case we
love you.
In which case, go to patreon.com/MLSAces and support the show that way more. Definitely do that. But
no, I can beat you in FIFA.
Carlos Vela he came off week 1 in this weird. He was calling him to get off the field for an injury, but he wasn't. Bob Bradley said he openly made a mistake in subbing him off. Don't really know what happened. We didn't really see him at any point past that up until last week, where he was starting. Got an assist on one of Diego Rossi's 2 goals for LAFC. I guess mainly I kind of just want to throw this one out here. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but what is your take on the Carlitos Vela situation to anybody? Is he going to stay for a full season? Because I know a lot of people are saying he's questioning where he's playing soccer or what he's doing soccer-wise. Vaughn, I see you nodding yes. I want to hear that.
I haven't been hearing all that chirping. I think he's going to be in LA, undoubtedly, and I think he still has something to prove there. Right, this is a team that won Supporters Shield. He won MVP, but they didn't lift MLS Cup. There's still that carrot out in front there, and I think also LAFC. I mean, through week 5 they were for the first time ever in last place in the conference. Yeah. So yeah, Carlos is going to get back on the field, and he's got something to prove, and that is that he can still put this team on his shoulders and take them to the heights. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that we were talking about not 2 months ago in preseason. You know, hey, this is a team that could win absolutely everything. They could totally run over everyone in this league, and they haven't done it yet because Carlos hasn't been on the field. He's going to be out there. We saw Rossi; he started scoring again this week. I think it's just a matter of time. So yeah, Carlos, I think he's there. If anybody's leaving, it's going to be Rossi.
If anyone's leaving, I think it's Atuesta because LAFC locked his ass down and for a 3-year contract, and where he's gone this summer, but may potentially gone this summer. I don't know. I'm just also spitballing here. But Jason or Sam, are you worried about LAFC? Are you worried about Vela in any type of situation? Just tossing it out there. We don't have to talk about it much if you guys aren't.
No, they're gonna be fine. No. He's gonna go back. They're going to just be back. They're going to be at the top. All right. Just, I feel like you're setting these questions up so that we just talk good about your favorite team.
I mean, maybe. Let's talk about the 3 teams right left in MLS after week 6 who are still undefeated. You got the Seattle Sounders, you got Orlando City, and you got Nashville SC. I think presumably we can all agree the Seattle Sounders have been the best team in Major League Soccer so far through 6 weeks of the 2021 season, correct? We all got head nods for the podcast listeners. We got 4 head nods going on. That's good. Orlando and Nashville. This is the interesting conversation because I think you can make an argument either way. Sam, I'm going to go to you first. Which team have you liked better? Obviously, both teams still being undefeated, but which team to you has kind of had that little bit more impressive run to start the season?
It's probably surprising considering how much I've liked watching Nashville this year. I think Orlando's just I think their offense is kind of banging together. Meanwhile, Nashville has been kind of sitting back way too early, bringing in that oncoming pressure and then fighting for a draw as opposed to the alternative where Orlando has been kind of going out in front very early. Excuse me. I do think it's close. I mean, they both played 6 games, 3-3-0. For Orlando, 2-4-0 for Nashville. Like, there's not a lot separating these two, but I think Orlando is coming out firing every game a lot more. Well, Nashville's Orlando's trying to win, Nashville's trying not to lose, I think would be my way of putting it, the way I've kind of seen them play so far.
I mean, I think that's super fair. I think Nashville's playing for the draw a lot of times while Orlando's at least
kind of sad they have 2 wins. I was really hoping they'd just ride out the draws for the whole season.
I would say they were, 0-3-0 for a while?
They're like 0-4. Oh.
Well, they started off with 2 draws, I'm pretty sure, and at least to start the season.
They started off with 3. Yeah, they were 0-3-0.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with you. I'm assuming you're going down Orlando as well?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Orlando's just a better team.
Got it. I mean,
but Nashville's having a good back line is like very clear that is a very valuable thing in MLS.
Oh yeah.
And they're proving it every week. I mean, they're winning because of their defense in most of these cases, or drawing.
Yeah, more drawing. Vaughn, I'm gonna assume. I have a feeling you're going Orlando.
I do love Orlando, but I think of the teams that are undefeated, I have to give credit to Nashville. I was trying to find it. I was trying to look up the form guide from last year, But there was a stretch last year where Nashville went something like 14 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
It was something insane, right? So they are proving, and this year is a little bit different, that they have a certain resiliency in that locker room and under the Gary Smith system that they are hard to beat. They are hard to break down. And this year they're doing it a little bit differently. I actually disagree a little bit with what Sam was saying, because I've seen from them a lot more shot chance creation, right? There's a lot of opportunities that have gotten into Jandre Cadiz that he hasn't converted. I think at one point, them in Minnesota were leading the league in chances created and shots on goal through like 3 or 4 weeks. So Nashville is becoming more expansive. They're doing some new things. They look like a different club than what they were last year. So to me, that is a big positive of how they're playing. Whereas Orlando, we're looking at their roster and we're saying, hey, there's actually some guys that are underperforming. Nani's been in and out of the lineup. Chris Mueller is not playing up to his potential. We don't know the situation with Daryl DK. There's some things that are in flux. So do I think that Orlando ultimately has the higher ceiling, that when they're really clicking, that they're going to be a better team than Nashville? Yeah, I think they have a higher ceiling. But Nashville is showing that they are a team that is going to find ways to stay in it. They're going to grind out results. And when it comes playoff time, right now, I trust Nashville's style of play more so than Orlando's style of play to grind out results. And that's what I think is going to carry them and make them a dangerous threat in the postseason. Whereas we've seen from Orlando, they can make a deep run, but ultimately it takes one bad game for them to get burned.
I disagree with that point. Nashville has looked good defensively, and yes, they've done way more this year where they're creating chances. You've seen more from Jandre Cadiz, I think, early than what you saw from him, obviously, when he came in later in the season, but early in his MLS tenure last year. You're even seeing more from Randall Leal this year than you saw, I think, most of last year as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The thing that kind of sets pieces apart for me with the Orlando-Nashville conversation is defensively for Orlando, where, yes, Nani still has, I think, 3 goals through 6 games or whatever it's been for them. But Kyle Smith has been playing out of his mind. I think you see Sebastian Mendez and you see the other Brazilian defensive midfielder. His name's totally escaping me right now. The Bear. Can't think of his nickname, but you got it if you know the Bear. They're playing out of their mind. They're holding things up so much defensively for this Orlando team where they don't need Nani and Mueller and Tesho and whoever else you want to throw out there to absolutely just dominate offensively to win games. I think that you have Joao Matinho getting back healthy a little bit. Gallese right now. Junior Urso, thank you. That's who I was talking about. You have Pedro Gallese, who's leading the league in shutouts right now. Defensively, this Orlando team is doing a lot, and I like them a lot defensively. Like I said, Kyle Smith is someone I want to give a major shout out to because he has been one of the best defenders in Major League Soccer through 6 weeks. And if I had to pick a team of the season after 6 weeks, he's on it for me. So it's a tough conversation because I think there are these pieces here for both teams that make them very good. But which one of these 3 teams, we'll throw the Sounders back in this conversation. I'll go around super quickly. Sam, I'll go to you first.
Wait,
which one,
I want to add.
Yes, go for something, Jason.
Just to add to Vaughn's point, Nashville is currently 3rd in shots, tied for 3rd in shots with 101, and shots on target, they're 2nd with 40. The only teams higher than them in shots are San Jose on target, they're 41. In total shots, it's Minnesota and Kansas City with 105, and they're tied with San Jose and 100.
No one's consistently finishing them. That's the thing that worries me. You can have all the shots in the world on target, great. Eventually, the odds are
in your favor. Yeah, like that. If they keep taking the most shots in the league or near the top of the league in shots, they're gonna start going in. And you've already seen them battle back. I feel like the resiliency that Vaughn's talking about is a real thing because they have battled back. The first 2 games of the season they went down and they kept clawing their way back.
Yeah,
I will say they've had a lot of their games at home. I didn't state that they had dropped points and dropped results at home. They left points on the table. That's maybe the one, where I kind of can shoot myself in the foot a little bit on my Nashville takes.
Hey, take away 3 of Orlando's goals because it was against no defense, and they have 4.
Fair.
Which is where's Nashville? Which is at least Nashville has 7 legit goals.
Can we argue, or can we all? We can all agree that
they have the same amount of goals.
That's not true.
They both have 7 goals.
Okay, they do. My bad. I'm looking at the whatever. I don't know. I'm looking at you guys, not the numbers. But we can agree that these 3 teams, the Sounders, Nashville, Orlando, have been 3 of the top 5 teams in the league overall this season so far. Just obviously not losing is big, right, at the end of the day. So I want to quickly go around. Sam, I'll start with you. First one of these 3 teams to lose. Who is it?
It's going to be Orlando City. I think they're just they're probably going to fall off real quick the way Vaughn was talking about. I do
like how, Sam,
think the way they play.
You trust Vaughn's brain so much, and I love it.
Vaughn speaks good words. He does. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of Nashville, and I am high on Nashville because I do enjoy the way they play. I enjoy the way their team's set up. I do think that Orlando does play pretty risky, all things considered, and let's be honest, Seattle and Nashville don't the same way. So I don't know. I could see Orlando City losing, but then again, who are they coming up against next? Like Orlando could be playing DC for 3 more games,
and then Toronto.
Oh baby, I love it.
Nashville's got Atlanta, and then the Red Bulls. Seattle has
next.
Seattle. I think
Seattle's got Austin.
Yeah, and then who do they have after that? Oh, the Galaxy,
who they already demolished this year.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Nashville because I think Atlanta's going to be
Nashville against Atlanta is a tough game.
Okay, Vaughn, we got an Orlando pick. We got a Nashville pick.
I think Orlando's going to lose to Red Bulls this week.
I agree with that. That was my pick because I think the Red Bulls at home are a very back and forth, bouncy team so far.
Now I know who to highlight in my picks.
Pick against that one, no. I think this is going to be tough. I think the Sounders keep it going, though, and I think that's the main takeaway. We can all grab from this.
Well, I want to talk about the Sounders real quick.
Yeah, go for it. You've been wanting to talk about the Sounders all day. Early on today, you were into the Sounders.
I specifically want to talk about Raul Ruidiaz because this guy does not nearly get enough press as he should.
Thank you, Jason.
And his numbers are absolutely absurd. Okay, 2018, he started in 13 games, played 14. He had 10 goals, 1 assist. All right, so 11 total contributions. In 14 games. 2019, 11 goals, 3 assists in 22 games played, 20 started. 2020, 17 starts, 17 games, 12 goals, 4 assists, so that's 16.
16 and 17.
This year, he's at 7 games played, all the games started. 6 goals, 6 goals, 1 assist, so he's got 7 there. His playoff stats are even more absurd. Yeah. Okay, in the last 3 years, right? He's been in 10 playoff games, 10 starts. He has 9 goals and 6 assists. That is superhuman numbers.
That's production.
And he's not.
Didn't we talk about this when you and I were podcasting, Jason, and you were trying to talk me down from this?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I'm pretty sure you were. He's pretty amazing.
I think he needs to be mentioned in terms of the best players in the league.
Well, that's what I was going to ask next is MVP. Is it Ruidiaz, Heel, or Chicharito right now?
Oh, Chicharito is looking good.
None.
Chicharito gets a bump because he's in LA, though. Okay, so no, it's not Chicharito. It's Ruidiaz for me.
I think it has to be Ruidiaz.
It's
he's winning games on his own.
It's his teammate. But it's not him. It's
Christian Roldan. Yeah,
Brad Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, bald
Brad Smith is balling out. Every time he scores,
baldy Brad.
What?
He's balled out, Jason.
Oh, Oh, I see. Oh, we're just
So
going with puns today.
the sad thing for the Sounders is they're about to lose Brad Smith to Australia competition, right? Australia called him up. I don't know I don't know how to word that, so that's how it came out. Raul Ruiz is leaving soon for Peru. So they are going to have to rely on some of these pieces. So we'll see how the Sounders hold up without some of their key pieces. So maybe my Christian Roldan take, we'll see how hot that is in another week or so. But let's finish things up with some international talk. We're not going to dive too deep into it, but the CONCACAF Nations League roster got announced by Greg Berhalter, and it's an interesting group. I'm going to read through it super quickly. You guys, pretty much, I'm just going to ask you guys kind of who you think was missing, who you like. So just get those takes ready. But pretty much for the Nations League roster, out of the goalkeepers, we got Zach Steffen, Ethan Horvath, and David Ochoa. So we got one MLSer in there. For the defenders in this group, we got Anthony Robinson, Tim Ream, John Brooks, Mark McKenzie, Matt Miazga, Serginho Dest, Reggie Cannon, and DeAndre Yedlin. For the midfielders, Tyler Adams, Jackson Ewell, Kellen Acosta, Weston McKennie, Eunice Musa, and Sebastian Leggett. A good group of MLSers in there. And then for the forwards, we got Gio Reyna, Brendan Aronson, Christian Pulisic, Timothy Weah, Josh Sargent, and Jordan Sibichu. So, Jason, I'm going to go to you first. I see you thinking. I see the brain churning.
Yeah.
Which group, I guess, do you like? Who do you like? Who's
group?
missing?
What do you mean, which group? Like which
group of players?
I like them all. I am really happy that Kellen Acosta's in this team. I see some people try to say he shouldn't be there, but I absolutely love him, and I will support that man forever. But I mean, I think this is a really good roster that I think when I read it, did not have many issues with. I think DK is like a training player with them, I believe.
DK, just to clarify that, Daryl DK is on the roster for the Switzerland friendly, but he is not on the roster for the
Nations League, right?
2 Nations League games.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's somewhat involved. I think DK is the only one that I could see a big argument for.
There is one that, Sam, you brought up before, who's not on this roster. You picked him to play center back next to John Brooks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Chris
Richards. Chris Richards.
There's a reason he wasn't in it. I don't remember what it was.
I don't think he was injured.
I thought he picked up a knock.
I could be wrong. I might have missed that.
Chris Richards would be
nice. Is he going back to Bayern after this season?
For now. Unless Hoffenheim.
I don't want him to keep being loaned out. I want them to transfer him to a team.
I think he played well at Hoffenheim.
I don't want him to begin the cycle that he was in for 6 years.
Well, there's going to be a new manager.
Vickers. So. Vickers is another one who was in that little cycle of Tottenham. She's like, go here. Okay, now go here. And just forget about him. It's like, you obviously don't care. Give him away.
He played most games for Bournemouth this year in the championship. He couldn't get a call. Tim Ream barely played for Fulham. And he's just getting older and older. I feel like CCV should have gotten a bit of a look here. Although maybe coming off a playoff, the playoffs and stuff, pretty tired. Give him a break.
It's good to see Yedlin
back. The same way that it's nice to see DeAndre Yedlin back. He's been playing very good in Turkey from everything I've kind of seen. I haven't watched games.
They fell just short of the Super League title down in Turkey to Kyle Larin and Besiktas. He was the Golden Boot for his team. He led the team in goals. So shout out Kyle Larin
and Tyler Boyd's parent team.
How many years was that? 5 years ago or something?
2018.
Oh fuck.
2016.
In a while.
3. I'm gonna look it up.
All right,
is he still good?
Yeah, he's still scoring. That's the thing.
He's not bad.
Vaughn, I'm gonna go to you.
Cool.
2017. Oh my
2017. God. Yeah, this group. Who do you like? Who would you wish is there? Give me your quick hot take on that.
I mean, I love the midfield, right? I think that this is where you can see how far the U.S. men's national team has come, right? I look at the midfield here, where you got guys like Adams, McKennie, Musa, and it's like, no, we've got guys that can really play at a very high level on the men's national team that we haven't had that kind of depth in a very long time. And to see that we're going to finally get a roster that has Adams, that has McKennie, that has Pulisic, that has Reyna, right? Like, we're finally getting the big guys all
playing
on the
together
field at the same time. It's massive. And I think it's, the past year of COVID, year and a half, has delayed even further seeing these guys get time on the field together. So that's what I'm really excited from this. But the guy that's missing from here that I feel absolutely gutted for, and this is, of course, off the radar because it wouldn't have happened, is Jordan Morris. I think if Jordan Morris had stayed healthy, he would have been on this roster right now.
Yeah.
And that's the guy that I feel bad is not here.
R.I.P. Jordan Morris.
Just the point here about the Nations League roster is that there were rumors circling that the Nations League roster was going to be filled with more European-based players and that the Gold Cup roster was going to be filled with more MLS and obviously sprinkling in, because a lot of our players are also based in Europe right now, which is also pretty insane, but it's going to be mostly MLS filled. So this roster is mostly European-based. There is a little bit of it's weird because we have the Switzerland friendly, then we have CONCACAF Nations League, we got a big kind of mix of U.S. men's national team games. So this camp is pretty huge right now because the roster for the U.S. men's national team that's going to face Switzerland is also a little different than the roster that is qualified and okay to play in Nations League. So you also have dudes in this camp right now training, like Daryl DK, who's there, Matthew Hoppe, who's there. I'm pretty sure Brian Reynolds is there, Justin Chi, who's potentially going to be going to Bayern as soon as well. Chituru Odonze, the goalkeeper for Leicester, he's also there training. So you have a lot of these dudes together in one camp they're getting ready for a friendly, they're getting ready for Nations League, they're getting ready for major competition, because since we failed to make the World Cup, this is only the second major competition that we've had for U.S. men's national team fans, the 2019 Gold Cup and now this. So it's going to be interesting to see. I really hope we can kind of pull out two solid performances because, Vaughn, like you said, this is it. This is every big name we want to see in one roster put together. It's go time now. Honestly, outside of the injuries to a Jordan Morris, to an Aaron Long, not many people missing. Daryl DK, sure, we mentioned him. Chris Richards, sure, we mentioned him. But we also have Mark McKenzie there. We also have Matt Miazga there. We also have guys who have been around the block.
Not much to complain about. This is a high note to finish this off.
And I mean that's really kind of the last thing that I wanted to mention is that when I first saw that Brooks Koepka meme going around that Vaughn held up before was my reaction. Yeah, this one, if you're watching, if you're watching that one, the meme I major thought of was in the background. It was, Greg Berhalter calling up Tim Ream, and then it was Brooks Koepka's face, U.S. men's national team fans, because that's just, again, Tim Ream is around. It's not even like the guy played major. If you played major minutes for
Timothy Michael Ream.
I just want to see him on the Red Bulls. That's all I want to see. But
if Aaron Long is healthy, is Tim Ream in this team?
No.
Yes. Because
he can play left back.
Greg Berhalter has this weird left-footed center back just obsession with the dude. And I get it, but I don't get it. So whatever. He's a veteran.
There are worse players to be bringing in.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, it could be worse.
Let's just finish things up. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to quickly scramble and look for a game you guys want to look forward to this weekend. Unless you guys have it ready, then I'm super impressed from you all. But I do just want to quickly say while you guys look at that, there are 15 MLS players that are going to be represented in this CONCACAF Nations League between U.S., Mexico, Honduras, and Costa Rica. So if you are just overall interested in Major League Soccer and you want to get a good grasp of some dudes playing internationally, this is a tournament to watch. These are going to be some games to watch. So definitely check it out across the board there, MLS wise. So I'm trying to see whose face looks most confident right now to pick a game. Jason, there you go. Thumbs up. I like it. Give me a game.
So a couple weeks ago, last time I was on the pod, I was a little concerned for Portland, as they had the earthquakes and then the Galaxy coming up, and then after that it was Philly, and I was like, oof, this is gonna be tough to win these, and they've won 2 of them so far. So my game to watch is Portland versus Philly, because obviously we know Philly, great team, very, very, very high quality team. Portland, I mean, we've talked about them enough on this podcast. They've got some injuries. I didn't bring up most of it. I just brought up this time. And I think this game is going to be pretty important, especially for a Portland team who has started off this season pretty up and down. And winning this game would definitely put them on a really good trajectory, because I'm pretty sure after that they have like Seattle or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, they have SKC, and then they have Seattle. No. Then they have
still a rough stretch. Still rough. Vaughn, I'm going to go to you next. What game are you most excited to watch this weekend?
California Classico. The LA Galaxy, San Jose. That's the big one in my eyes. That's the one I got circled. Also, you got San Jose, who's hit a rough stretch here with 3 losses in a row. So I think they're going to be coming out with a little bit of extra fire in this rivalry matchup, and because they've got to get some things straight. And I think their style also is really, really good against what the Galaxy are going to be throwing at them. I think this is going to be a matchup of teams throwing haymakers. It could be a really high-scoring game.
Okay.
Caden Clark-Cowell needs to step up.
It's the same guy. It's all one guy.
Sam.
Sam and I established it's the same guy.
We are such a low-budget show. I love it. Sam.
Yeah, we all get paid a great salary.
You do.
Wait, so real quick, before I jump into my pick, I found the goalkeeper pool.
Every time you say that, I literally just picture a small kiddie pool with a bunch of old.
It is, because last year there were literally 2 guys in the pool last year.
There needs one like Jason and Sam going on a tangent
every time, and it's like these 2 31-year-olds that are just bouncing around that have never played solid minutes in MLS. But if you need them, they're there, and I just found that really interesting. So there's that. The only guy of note is the year that Tim Melia was on there, and then he went to SKC and is now like the GOAT. So like that's cool. Umbrella was on there, and then he got picked up by LA Galaxy. That got me.
So what game do you want to watch?
I really want to watch. Thank you. I was transitioning anyway. RSL in Minnesota.
I saw it.
This will be the first game. This will be the first game since the David Ochoa nonsense, quote unquote. So
kick it.
So like it's in Rio Tinto, so like I don't think it'll be the same as next time RSL's in Minnesota.
But I do think that
they should try to score this time. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh,
maybe they should score more. So I think that Minnesota is going to come out with some kind of like hurt pride about it and really try to shove it down RSL's throat. And I think that'll be interesting to watch.
So what are the chances Tyler Miller kicks the ball into the stands? I really want to say that real quick.
50%. 1 and 2. It either happens or it doesn't.
He's too safe.
I think it's like 90% chance. No way someone's going to do it.
Gotcha.
Might not be Tyler Miller.
Sam, you took my pick, so I'm going to have to take the softball floating out there. It's Champions League final weekend, boys. We got 2 Americans in the goddamn Champions League.
Oh,
my gosh.
Whose man is this? Whose man is this?
We are going to see an American raise a Champions League trophy. I don't know how we're not excited about this, but I'll mention
because one of them's the backup goalkeeper for one of the teams.
So let's hope Chelsea wins. Is what we're all saying.
I hope they tie and then they just end the game and they're like, we'll just give 2 trophies next year.
At the end of the day, there is going to be a 14th trophy raised by an American in Europe, no matter what it is, and I'm excited for it. That's all I got to say.
But if we're talking incredible.
I am excited about that.
Vaughn, not you two.
Yeah.
That better be because you're a Celtic fan.
You got 2 Liverpool fans on the right side of the screen.
Despicable.
That's why it's the right side of the screen.
Fuck.
So if I had to pick an
Vaughn
MLS game,
appreciated that little wordplay.
it's the Tom Sweezy Classico. It's LAFC versus
What
New York
Tom
City.
is it?
What it is. Thank you.
The Squeeze Bowl.
Yeah, the Squeeze Bowl.
Squeeze Classico.
The Squeeze Classico. Whatever you want to call it. It's my game. I'm going to be rooting for no
one.
one.
Are you going to wear like an LAFC hat and like an NYCFC jersey?
Tom's one of those guys who's just going to go and he's going, I just hope everyone has fun.
Everyone has
a good time.
I just hope my team doesn't lose by 2 penalty ticks from Lucas Zellereon this week. That's all I'm really kind of hoping for, because that.
Well, he's not there, so
3 kicks, whatever. It's end of the episode. I'm wrapping it up. This has been MLS Aces Jesus, episode 186. For Vaughn, for Jason, for Sam.
Along.
Thank you guys for listening. It's been a fun one.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We'll see you next week.